started for executive session.
Thank you. Starting with executive session agenda item 1, Ivory Matthews, who is not appearing. Investigator Patterson, please provide the report.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. This is Investigator Silas Patterson for the record. Agenda item 1 in your meeting book is a preliminary review report for Ivory Matthews, former Executive Director for Home Forward. The complaint in this case alleges that Ivory Matthews used her position as Executive Director to avoid financial detriment and obtain financial benefits that would not have been available to her except for her position by excessively spending agency funds on travel and lodging without authorization or justification. The information in this preliminary review indicates that Ms. Matthews may have engaged in a prohibited use of office in violation of ORS 244.040 sub 1 by regularly using agency funds for travel that appeared to be inconsistent with or in violation of Home Forward's travel policy. This includes, but is not limited to, purchasing extra days of lodging for what appears to be non-business purposes, room and airfare upgrades, lodging that exceeded GSA and DoD rates, rental cars, and attaching her personal travel rewards accounts to agency-funded lodging. Additionally, it appears that Ms. Matthews was faced with a conflict of interest each time she made a purchase or sought reimbursements for travel expenses that were inconsistent or in violation of Home Forward's travel policies. Furthermore, Home Forward's travel policy requires authorization for any expenses incurred by the agency. If Ms. Matthews were authorizing her own travel, she would have been met with a conflict of interest on each occasion. It does not appear that Ms. Matthews complied with conflict of interest disclosure requirements set forth in ORS 244.120 sub 1 sub C. Based on the information in this preliminary review, there appears to be a substantial objective basis to believe that Ms. Matthews may have violated the use of office and conflict of interest provisions of Oregon government ethics law. The recommendation is to move this case to investigation.
Thank you, Investigator Patterson. Commissioners, any questions for the investigator? Seeing and hearing none, any discussion? Okay, Vice Chair, you're prepared to make a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Ivory Matthews may have violated ORS 244040 sub 1 and ORS 244120 sub 1 sub C, and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on executive session agenda item 1. Administrator, please call the roll. Sorry.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner Burke,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Gibbons,
Aye.
Commissioner Meltler,
Aye.
Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passed 8-0. Chair, we are working on getting the attorney for agenda item 2 online.
Okay.
I think it might be that other number, which is why I was asking about that. I'm going to send you a phone number. Do you have this phone number by chance for the attorney?
Here's to what I have here.
Thank you. So you can let the phone number in, and we will just need to confirm that it is actually the attorney, Julie Parrish.
She's in, we need to confirm.
Sorry, Stephanie, I have a different number.
We'll the person who is calling from the phone number ending in 3531, we've given you permission to unmute yourself. *6, can you please identify yourself for the record?
Yes, Julie Parrish. I'm counsel for Benjamin West.
Thank you.
Hello, Ms. Parrish. My name is Shanoa Payne. I'm the chair of the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. Thank you for appearing this morning. I just want to sort of give you the procedure that will happen today. First, we're going to hear a report from the investigator, Mr. Patterson, and then we will allow commissioners to ask questions of the investigator should they have any. And then we will give you an opportunity to make a short statement on behalf of Respondent West. We will limit that time to 3 minutes just because we have a long agenda today. And then we will open the floor to commissioners to ask questions of you should they have any. Then we will open the floor for discussion and then move to a vote on this matter. The only decision that is being made today is whether to move this matter to investigation. There is no decision being made today as to whether any violation actually occurred. Given all of that, Investigator Patterson, please proceed with the report.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. This is Investigator Silas Patterson for the record. Agenda item 2 in your meeting book is a preliminary review report for Ben West, Commissioner for the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners. The complaint in this case alleges that Ben West may have violated provisions of Oregon government ethics law by using his position as a Clackamas County Commissioner to secure temporary employment for his father with the Clackamas County Facilities Department. Information in this preliminary review indicates that Mr. West communicated with the Clackamas County Administrator about employment opportunities for his father and provided information about his father's credentials. Following these communications, it appears that a temporary maintenance specialist position was created and tailored to the specific qualifications and skill sets of Mr. West's father. Furthermore, it appears that Mr. West's father was hired without the position being publicly posted or without consideration of other candidates. It does not appear that the opportunity for his father's employment as a temporary maintenance specialist would have existed, but for Mr. West's position as a county commissioner. Thus, it appears that Mr. West may have violated ORS 244.040 sub 1. The information in this preliminary review also indicates that the county's policy provides that prior to filling a vacancy for any unclassified position, such as the one Mr. West's father was hired for, the board must establish qualifications and prescribe regulations for the position. If this policy was followed, Mr. West would appear to have been met with a conflict of interest. However, it does not appear that Mr. West complied with conflict of interest disclosures set forth in ORS 244.120 sub 1 sub C. Additionally, the nepotism statutes prohibit a public official from hiring or promoting a relative participating in any discussion or debate to hire or promote a relative to a paid position with the public body that the official serves. In this case, it does not appear that Mr. West participated in any personnel actions involving the hiring, promotion, or supervision of his father. Thus, it does not appear that Mr. West violated ORS 244.177 sub 1. Based on the information in this preliminary review, there appears to be a substantial objective basis to believe that Ben West may have violated Oregon government ethics law. The recommendation is to move this case to investigation.
Thank you, investigator. Commissioners, any questions for the investigator? Okay, Ms. Parrish, now is the time for you to make a statement to the commission. And again, just a reminder, we ask that you keep that statement to 3 minutes or less.
Great, thank you. I'll be brief. I would just like to say that we have sent both a letter on June 2nd that I hope is in your board packet and a supplemental letter this past week after we received a copy of Mr. Patterson's preliminary review. When we looked at the preliminary review, it was clear and evident to us, and in further discussions with Gary Schmidt, who's the county administrator, that some of the published policies or board ordinances for Clackamas County are not actually consistent with what is county practice. So I would like to make sure that you have an opportunity to read the supplemental information that Clackamas County has provided with respect to the 2 remaining issues that were in the preliminary findings we note that one of the findings was there a question of nepotism that did not manifest as a need to be further investigated. We appreciate that. The other two remaining issues is whether there was a use of office and a conflict of interest. With respect to the conflict of interest, because of the internal policies of Clackamas County, they are slowly but surely reorganizing all of their county code. And so the governing county code is section 209, not 205. And in 209, the board has delegated all policy and rules around HR, including the hiring of all employees, directly to the county administrator. So the old policy was that, yes, board members did have a way stronger hand, 20 some years ago in day-to-day policy of hiring and firing of lower level staff. That is no longer the case or practice. And so all of that has been delegated to the county administrator. And so a matter of a conflict of interest, there would have been nothing that would have come before the board for Commissioner West to declare publicly or forward facing a conflict of interest. He historically, when there has been real or potential conflicts of interest, he has a record of actually declaring those and knows and understands that duty from his past practice in other issues where there have been potential or perceived conflicts of interest. And his standard of practice has been to go to county council. So I would just refer you to the letter. We also think County Administrator Schmidt's letter addresses the issue about use of office as well. And we would urge that there would be no need upon reading that letter to move forward with an investigation.
Thank you, Ms. Parrish, for that statement and that information. Commissioners, any questions for Ms. Parrish? Commissioner Gibbons.
How long has Clackamas County had employed a county administrator?
That's a good question. As I can't say when they have had a county administrator. My experience as a former lawmaker, when I was elected in 2010, at least at that time, there was always a county administrator. So I can, with knowledge, go back to 2010 and know that they've had a county administrator. I can't say prior to that.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners have questions for Ms. Parrish? Commissioner McCauley.
Thank you, Chair Payne. It might have been in the report, but it's not, I can't find it and I'm not remembering off the top of my head. But for the investigator, if we move this forward to investigation, what would you be looking for?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner McCauley. First, I think would be to clarify whether the policy in place that Ms. Parrish is referencing is the one that is being used or employed. My communications with the county and request for their policy is what was reviewed in this report. So I was sent the policy that was reviewed. So just to clarify that and determine whether or not the new policy is what is on the books and what is being used in this instance. The other would be just to find more information to determine if that position was created or was available prior to Mr. West's communications with the county administrator, and to also determine if that position was created after those communications with Mr. West.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Can I address that? Sorry, it's hard to see people when you're on the phone, but I will say that I think Mr. Schmidt's supplemental information also speaks to what was open at the time, and that there was a full-time position with similar requirements that they could not actually fill. And so his letter does address that issue about how the position was created. And I think his assertion is it was not created specifically for Tom West, the commissioner's father.
Any other commissioners have questions or discussion? Commissioner Gibbons.
Chair Payne, did I understand correctly that the position was not advertised?
Correct.
Thank you.
I have questions that I think that this would be helpful to move to investigation. The investigator has identified some areas that I think would be helpful to get further information on. Doesn't mean that this would ultimately be a violation, but for me, I think this is an appropriate one to move to investigation. That's where I'm leaning. Happy to hear other commissioners' thoughts on this. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree. I think there's some issues still that need to be wrapped up here. I think I'm with you. I still have some questions, and I think it would be good to have our investigator dig into the supplemental material a little bit and figure it out. I mean, it very well could end up that this is a nothing burger, but like I said, this isn't clear cut enough for me to dismiss at this point.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Any other commissioners have comments? I see heads nodding. Commissioner Burke. Commissioner Burke, you are currently muted.
Oh, thank you. That must be better. Okay, I'll bring my camera on too. Okay, sorry about the giant head. Anyway, as I've read through the material and listened to the testimony, my feeling is that it's never a good look when a public official makes an inquiry on behalf of a family member. But in this case, because of the various policies and the structure of the way Clackamas County handles these, I don't see a clear violation. I can concede that it's never a problem with proceeding to investigation, but I'm smelling a nothing burger here, and that's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Burke, for that comment. Vice Chair, are you prepared to make a motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Ben West may have violated ORS 244120 sub 2 and ORS 244040 sub 1, and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on executive session agenda item 2. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Burke, Commissioner Burke,
I'm sorry, I was muted again. Aye.
Commissioner Givens,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt.
Is abstaining.
Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry. Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0 with 1 abstention.
Okay. We are moving on to executive session agenda item 3, and the respondent is not appearing. So Investigator Pacheco, please proceed with the report.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. This is Investigator Daniel Pacheco for the record. Agenda item 3 in your meeting books is a preliminary review report for Wendy Adams, Commissioner for the City of Phoenix Planning Commission. The complaint in this matter concerns 2 Planning Commission meetings held on May 11th and June 8th, 2026 to consider and vote on a developer application which would establish a city 7-Eleven convenience store and refueling station referred to in this report as a property. In this case, Ms. Adams and her spouse, a relative as defined in ethics law, live in a community which borders the proposed property site. Because it appears that the development of the property could financially impact Ms. Adams' property values or taxes, it appears that she was met with a potential conflict of interest each time the Planning Commission considered the developer application. Accordingly, she was required to publicly declare the nature of her conflict. Based on the Planning Commission's meeting materials, it appears that Ms. Adams properly declared her conflict of interest at the June 8th meeting, but failed to do so at the May 11th meeting. Thus, it appears that she violated ORS 244.120 sub 2. Should this case move to investigation, Commission staff would seek to determine whether the class exception in 020 subsection 13 sub B would apply, such that Ms. Adams and her spouse would be financially impacted to the same degree as a group or class and would therefore not be required to declare a conflict of interest. There is another provision in ethics law that Commission staff considered in this case. ORS 244.040 sub 1 prohibits a public official from using or attempting to use their official position to obtain a financial gain or avoid a financial detriment for themselves or their relatives that would not otherwise be available but for their official position. In this case, commission staff determined that Ms. Adams was acting within the scope of her responsibilities as a commissioner at the May 11th and June 8th meetings when she advocated against approval of the developer application and raised concerns about its possible flaws. However, it appears that she may have used her position or office with respect to some of her communications to city staff and other state agencies. Over a period of 30 days, Ms. Adams sent numerous emails and letters to city staff in which she identified herself as a commissioner and attempted to halt the approval of the developer application. In particular, Ms. Adams sent 2 letters to the city mayor and city manager on May 25th and May 29th. In her first letter, she asked that the Planning Commission's legal counsel, which assisted with the developer application, have a performance evaluation and be barred from providing the Planning Commission with legal advice or attending its upcoming meetings. In the second letter, she asked that the Planning Commission chair and city staff be investigated before the developer application proceeded any further. It does not appear that other Planning Commission members issued similar communications in the same manner as Ms. Adams. In this case, the commission can determine that Ms. Adams' communications to the city staff on May 25th and May 29th were proper, or find that additional information may be needed to determine whether Commissioner Adams' communications may have been a use or attempted use of position in violation of 040 Lastly, there is another matter to consider. It appears that Ms. Adams sent multiple letters and emails to staff at the Environmental Justice Center, EJC, and the Department of Environmental Quality, DEQ, asking that they, quote, intervene on the developer application, end quote. In doing so, it appears that Ms. Adams was attempting to avoid a financial detriment associated with her personal property in violation of the use of office statute. Due to the time available in this preliminary review, commission staff were unable to examine the emails. Should this case move to investigation, commission staff would seek to determine whether Ms. Adams' communications with DEQ and EJC violated the prohibited use of office statute. Based on the information available in this preliminary review, there appears to be a substantial objective basis to believe that Ms. Adams violated ORS 244.120 sub 2 and ORS 244.1.040 sub 1, and the commission should investigate accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Investigator Pacheco. Commissioners, any questions for our investigator?
Sure.
Yes, Commissioner Gibbons.
Chair Payne, do we know was this undue influence, I guess is the best way that was used for her by her position?
That's a great question. That's one that we wanted to bring forward to the commission to discuss and, make that decision on whether we want to move this forward to determine whether those communications were an attempted influence for use of office violation, or the commission could determine that it wasn't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Investigator Pacheco, in your report, you talk about a communication that you had with the respondent and advice that you gave the respondent, and it appears the respondent went ahead and ignored your advice. Is that correct?
That's what it appears like, yes.
Okay. That's just really astounding to me. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood that that advice happened before she went ahead and sent the dissent letter in her official capacity.
That is correct. When we spoke, she had explained that she was going to be drafting a dissent letter, and I explained at that moment that if she would do so, it was fine so long as she did it in her personal capacity rather than in her public official capacity, identifying herself as such. So I did explain that to her when we had the discussion. Thank you.
Okay. That was my question.
I think there's a lot here to look at.
Yes.
And I feel sorry for Daniel at this point.
Yes.
It's a hairy one.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's interesting. I always appreciate somebody who self-reports, but it seemed unnecessary.
It seems to me that she asked about a problem, didn't do it, and then reported herself. There's a lot of questions here.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions.
It's gonna be an interesting one to read up.
I see some emotions and anger and stuff.
Any questions for the investigator or discussion from other commissioners? Okay, Vice Chair, are you prepared to make a motion?
I am. Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Wendy Adams may have violated ORS 244-040 sub 1 and ORS 244-120 sub 2, and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on executive session agenda item 3. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson.
Aye.
Commissioner Gibbons,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Burke.
Aye.
Chair Payne,
Aye.
motion passed 8-0. Turn for number 4 is in the waiting room.
Okay,
Admitting him now, and the respondent is not here.
not appear. Okay.
Be a commission meeting if we didn't get to hear from Bob there.
I know.
It wouldn't be a commission meeting if we didn't get to hear from Bob.
One moment to get him. He's right.
Good morning, Mr. Sterringer.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you.
I'm good. Well, you are very familiar with our procedure, so I won't go through that process with you. We'll just go ahead and have the investigator proceed with the report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. This is Investigator Silas Patterson for the record. Agenda item 4 in your meeting book is a preliminary review report for Larry McGill, Fire Chief for the Wymack Rural Fire Protection District. The complaint in this case alleges that Mr. McGill used his position as fire chief to financially benefit himself and his wife, and that Mr. McGill, in his position as chief, directly supervises his wife. Based on the information obtained, it appears that Mr. McGill was met with a potential conflict of interest when he took actions that involved applying for and signing off on a fire service capacity grant that at the time could result in a possible financial benefit to himself and his wife by funding their current positions. Additionally, it appears that Mr. McGill made recommendations to the district board concerning the necessity of a tax base and the steps that should be taken to ensure it is passed. These recommendations and actions appear to give rise to a potential conflict of interest, as the passing of the tax base would appear to permanently fund positions held by Mr. McGill and his wife. It does not appear that on either occasion Mr. McGill complied with the conflict of interest disclosure requirements set forth in ORS 244.120 sub 1 sub C. Additionally, it appears that Mr. McGill and his wife both submitted letters of resignation, but appeared to rescind them before they took effect and after the fire service capacity grant that Mr. McGill was involved in applying for was approved by the Oregon State Fire Marshal. Based on the available timeline, it appears possible that Mr. McGill and his wife may have known grant funding was available and that this funding was the reason they opted to rescind their resignations. It is also unclear to what extent, if any, Mr. McGill had in ensuring that the positions he and his wife held at the time were combined with the new positions that would be funded by the grant. Furthermore, it appears that Mr. McGill and his wife were only offered the newly created paid positions because of the positions they held at the time. Regarding the alleged violation of the nepotism provisions, it does not appear that Mr. McGill appointed, employed, or directly supervised his wife. Thus, it does not appear that Mr. McGill violated the nepotism provisions in Oregon government ethics law. Based on the information available in this preliminary review, there appears to be a substantial objective basis to believe that Larry McGill may have violated Oregon government ethics law. The recommendation is to move this case to investigation.
Commissioners, any questions for the investigator?
Chair Payne,
Yes.
was there any aggregate amount that could have been looked at or perceived for this action?
Not sure I completely understand the question.
If they were to benefit from it?
So based on the initial fire service capacity grant, that would provide funding part-time to their positions that they currently held in a volunteer basis. And then the passing of the tax base would have applied that funding to on a more permanent status. So the volunteer position would ultimately be funded permanently by the passing of the tax base for Mr. McGill.
We don't know an amount though.
It is not clear enough.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Investigator, I have a question. Was the grant sought solely to fund these two positions, meaning it was like a targeted grant?
So yeah, thank you for the question, Chair Payne. The grant was specifically for two positions that were not currently a part of the department. And after the grant was awarded, it was determined by the board to combine those positions into what was already held within the volunteer department. So the application was for two new positions, but Mr. McGill's position was combined with one of them that was funded by the grant.
Okay, and then for the tax base, was there any limitation on how that money could be used, or was it a general fund measure?
It was a general fund, so it would be generally to fund the department, and the potential was that it would possibly fund Mr. McGill's position as chief.
Commissioner Halt.
Thank you, Chair Payne. I am really struggling with the direct line to benefit oneself by going out for a public bond and having all taxpayers vote on it, and then it having to, and not having the positions in it, and then having to go to the board, and then the board changing the positions through a different lens. Like, this is, if you were trying to get money for yourself, this route would be the least way that I would recommend doing so. You have so many hurdles in your path, and it is directly benefiting the community. In my opinion, it is not, he's advocating for his community and making his community stable, and I don't think that that should be punished. And that's sort of my take on how this goes. It's super confusing to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Halt. Before we go into general discussion, I'd like to allow Mr. Sterringer to make a statement, but do commissioners have any questions for the investigator specifically before we do that? Okay, Mr. Sterringer, we're going to limit your statement to 3 minutes or less. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Payne, members of the commission and commission staff. Bob Sterringer representing Mr. McGill here. I was just retained to represent Mr. Gill this week, so I didn't have the opportunity to provide written comments. So I apologize that I wasn't able to provide that to the commission in advance, but I did provide some thoughts to Investigator Patterson, just so he wasn't blindsided by what I was going to share with you today. As I shared with him, I completely understand why the conclusion was reached that there may be a basis for finding a violation on the conflict of interest laws in connection with the work done to secure funding for the district to be able to pay for positions that previously had been volunteer. We really haven't had the opportunity to dig into that thoroughly to be able to provide you with a complete response, but I do know the context of this, which I think is understood and reflected in the preliminary review report, which is that the district was very much aware of what they were doing in pursuing this money, that the district board was asking for Mr. McGill's help in seeking those funds to be able to professionalize their firefighting capacity, which the irony is not lost on me that Mr. McGill is not here today because he's on the front line fighting the Grasshopper fire, which is just immediately west of this district. They needed this service. So everybody understood that the purpose of this funding was to fund positions. And so even if Mr. McGill had declared a potential conflict of interest and asked for direction from the board on what to do, his board would have said, go help us figure out how to get this money, first through the grant and then through the tax base. All that said, they have learned through this process as well. And the district board has now reached out to the Special Districts Association of Oregon asking for training on government ethics. And Mr. McGill is taking a fire chief's training later this year, which he expects to have in-person ethics training as well. And he's certainly more sensitized now to keeping an eye out for these sorts of situations that might be perceived as conflicts of interest. I wish I had more time. I don't think there's any basis for the final two statutes that are referenced as potential violations. If the commission has questions about that, I'm able to talk more about that, but I see my time is up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Steringer. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Steringer?
Was the grant funding, this is Commissioner Givens, Mr. Steringer, was the grant funding specifically for personnel position? It went into general fund to give it leeway to be used at different areas, but it was dedicated to personnel. Is this correct?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner Givens. I do believe that the grant funding was tied specifically to personnel for positions. That is the case. The tax base, of course, was for general fund, which came later.
Thank you.
Other commissioners have questions for Mr. Steringer? Opening it up to general discussion, commissioners have thoughts. Commissioner Burke, I see your hand.
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the respondent for fighting the fire, the grasshopper fire. That's dangerous work. Firefighters are lost every year doing this kind of work. And regardless of this issue, I want to go on record as saying that I know people are grateful for that service. I would also like to compliment Mr. Steringer, who, my time on the commission is getting short, and I've always had an admiration about how well he's represented his many clients. And so before my term ended, I wanted to give him a compliment on that. About the matter itself, taxes aren't voluntary. And I understand that we need to levy taxes sometimes. But because people are struggling so much and because taxes are not voluntary, we have to make sure that when they are levied, things are done right. And they're done cleanly, and they're done in a way that is perceived as being clean. Now, I don't think anyone here has had malicious motives, not even the respondent. But I think that for the public good, I do think we need to look more deeply into this. We need to find out what all the mechanics behind this were. This venue really doesn't provide enough time to do any of that unless the cases are very simple, and it sounds like this one is not. So with respect to all parties concerned, I will be supporting moving this to full investigation.
Thank you, Commissioner Burke. Other commissioners have comments or Commissioner Hall?
Thank you, Chair Payne. So what we're asking to move forward is a use of office and a potential conflict of interest. I will be a no on moving this forward. I feel that his use of office, he was trying to very hard to get money to keep his community safe. And that's really what he was trying to do, in my opinion. And here it says, that he was under the board's direction. And that he didn't declare a conflict of interest. And I struggle with the conflict of interest because he is doing the work of securing the funds for the community. And that's really what the community needed. And he's out there fighting fires. And I will not be voting yes to move forward any ethics violation against somebody who has secured funds and is out there fighting fires in their community. I think that he has more than demonstrated that he is there for his community in time of need, and that this community needed these funds to help keep them safe. So I will be a no vote today. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Halt. I think that for me, the general tax issue is a non-starter for me. The grant issue is more problematic for me in the sense that it was directed at a position that would fund his position. I fail to see that it would be an improper use of office because he was directed to do so by the board. But I do think that he should have declared a potential conflict of interest. And so I'm having a hard time just wanting to dismiss this whole thing. But I would be okay with dismissing the use of office provision and just moving forward the potential conflict of interest on the grant issue. That's where I'm leaning. I do think education here likely has occurred, but I do think it's important to have a record, and likely we'll move this forward with a letter of education on that issue. That's where I'm leaning. And I think that would be appropriate. I agree with things that people have said. I really appreciate his service. I don't think there was ill intent here or that he was doing anything nefarious to, necessarily, benefit himself solely, but, since he was doing it at the direction of the board. But I do think it's important to declare those conflicts. So that's where I'm leaning. Yes.
Thank you for those comments. I'm with you on them. My concern that I think we need more information on deals with the fact that, number one, he and his wife are both involved in the grant request. And I want to know more about the timeline and the impetus behind the resignations and the rescinding the resignations. There's just a couple. I'm with you on the tax thing. I think it's a high angle bank shot that there's a lot of things going on there that don't make a straight line. But I am interested in more information about that, the grant request, the funding of the grant request, and how the resignations play into all of that. The resignations and the rescission of those. So I would be in favor of moving that part forward, while, as you say, letting the other part go.
Good comments, Vice Chair. Any other discussion on this matter?
Chair Payne.
Sure. Commissioner Gibbons.
I would agree with you, a letter of education. And I think there's too much motive here to do what's right for the community, not as much for he and his wife.
And ultimately, that may be what happens today. We just decide whether to move this to investigation or not. Well, Vice Chair, are you prepared to make a motion and see what happens?
Just clarifying, we're moving ahead on the 120 violation and not the 040, right? Does that get me where I want to be? Looking at staff.
Well,
I don't think so, only because of the issue with the the timing of
So we should move forward with both then?
with both, but just with respect to the grant, not the tax issue.
I thought from your discussion, you wanted to move the use of office forward.
I'm not concerned about the tax issue, the
Right.
tax bond issue. What I'm concerned about is the grant and the resignation and the rescinding of the resignations. I want to know more about that. I'm not saying anything happened weird there. It's just, I want to know more about that. So would I move both of the ORSs forward in that
Yeah.
case? Okay, all right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Excuse me, can I interject quickly? We operate under Robert's Rules of Order, so would it be possible to divide the question and vote on each one separately?
I think the issue is just factual. I don't think we need to divide them. So I think Vice Chair is going to move both statutes forward. We don't need to separate them based on what facts meet those statutes, because there's two factual issues at here. There's the tax base and there's the grant, but they're not two separate statutes for each of those. So,
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
okay.
Okay.
Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the commission find there's a substantial objective basis for believing that Larry McGill may have violated ORS 244-120 sub 1 sub C and ORS 244-040, and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on executive session agenda item 4. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Halt,
No.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Dancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Burke,
Aye.
Commissioner Gibbons,
No.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Chair Payne,
Aye.
motion passes 6-2.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Steringer, for being here. As you've heard, we have moved this forward to investigation. Commissioners were primarily concerned with that grant issue and want further investigation regarding that and some issues surrounding the resignation and issues around matters with the wife as well. So we'll look further into that moving forward, and staff will be in touch.
Thank you, Chair Payne. We'll look forward to working with Investigator Patterson on that.
Thank you.
Who did Silas make mad in the meeting? You should apologize to whoever it was. Man, you're just getting them today.
I'm feeling pretty guilty about this.
Number 5.
Ms. Purtle Guinea, am I saying your last name correctly?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I am all right.
Thank you for being here with us this morning. My name is Shanoa Payne, and I am the chair of the commission. I just want to sort of give you the procedure of how this is going to happen. First, the investigator is going to provide a summary of the report, and then commissioners will have an opportunity to ask questions of the investigator. And then we will allow you to make a short statement. We ask that you keep it 3 minutes or less, just because we have a long agenda today. And then commissioners will have an opportunity to ask questions of you if they have any. And we'll open the floor up to discussion among the commissioners, and then the commissioners will vote on your matter. The only decision being made today is whether to move your matter to investigation, and the recommendation actually is to move to dismiss your matter. So when you make your statement, keep that in mind. But no decision is being made today whether to that any violation has actually occurred. That being said, we will have the investigator provide the report.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. This is Investigator Silas Patterson for the record. Agenda item 5 in your meeting book is a preliminary review report for Alana Purtle-Guinea, counselor for the City of Portland. The complaint alleges that Ms. Purtle-Guinea may have violated Oregon government ethics law by accepting gifts from RIP City management that exceeded the $50 cumulative gift limit from a single source. The alleged gifts included complimentary tickets for attending and participating in a Women's History Night event, including a complimentary ticket for Ms. Purtle-Guinea's child, a game ball delivery ceremony, and meetings with Blazers executives and the NBA commissioner. Based on the information obtained in this preliminary review, it does not appear that Ms. Purtle-Guinea violated the gift provisions in Oregon government ethics law. Based on the information reviewed, it appears that Ms. Purtle-Guinea paid market value for her child's ticket to attend the game with her, and her acceptance of complimentary tickets and participation in meetings with Blazers executives and the NBA commissioner appear to fall under the gift exception set forth in ORS 244.020 sub 7 sub B. In this case, there does not appear to be a substantial objective basis to believe that Ms. Purtle-Guinea violated ORS 244.025. The recommendation is to dismiss.
Thank you, investigator. Commissioners, any questions for the investigator? Okay, Ms. Purtle-Guinea, now's the time for you to make a statement. Should you choose to do so, we ask that you keep it to 3 minutes or less.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you all for your time today. As you have heard from the investigator, Mr. Schentrup, a Portlander concerned with whether some events I attended on behalf of the city may have influenced my decision-making and whether I reported these events in a manner required under state law, has filed a complaint against me. I want to just start by saying how much I appreciate Mr. Patterson's time on this and his willingness to provide detailed information to me through the process. The work you do is critical to ensure that Oregonians can have the highest level of faith in our government and in those who serve in elected and appointed positions. It's also critical that we as leaders in our community have clarity around the laws that we need to follow. And in this case, while I understand the concerns raised by Mr. Schentrup, I believe I followed the law. I did attend events with RIP City Management and the Blazers, who do, as the press has widely reported, have an interest in the work before Portland City Council. But I attended these events in all cases as a representative of the government, performing ceremonial duties and participating in events and convenings on behalf of the city. I believe all of the occasions fall under specific exemptions laid out in the subsections of ORS 244.0207. Additionally, as a newly elected leader, I checked in regularly with our city attorneys to ensure I was following state law, city law, and acting consistently with past practices of city leaders, where those practices went above and beyond the legal requirements to ensure I was providing both transparency and consistency in my reporting. Your work is serious, as is this complaint, so is serving the public. I appreciate the time Mr. Patterson and your commission have taken to review Mr. Schentrup's concerns. You have the case before you and have heard the report, so I won't go into the details one by one, but I do hope that as you review the specific events, you agree with me that I did not violate state laws, and with Mr. Patterson, whose report concludes that there does not appear to be a substantial objective basis to believe that I may have violated ORS 244.025. I just want to end by assuring you that I will continue to take care in following these laws, in following the reporting process, and ensuring that I'm doing everything I can to uphold the public's trust. That will continue to be a priority for me throughout my time in office and throughout my whole career. Thank you for allowing me to address the commission today and for the care that I know you will take in this decision.
Thank you so much for that statement. Commissioners, any questions for our respondent today? I have a question for you. It was a little unclear from the report for me regarding the game ball delivery ceremony and the playoff game on April 26, 2026. The report states that you participated in the game ball delivery for ceremonial purposes, but it doesn't state exactly how you participated. Can you clarify how you participated for ceremonial purposes in the game ball delivery ceremony?
So at the beginning of Blazers games, the team has a tradition, I guess, of having somebody start with a ball at the very top of the arena. That's then handed to an attendee at the game and passed down through the arena to the floor. District 2 counselors, myself and my 2 colleagues who I serve alongside in the district that includes the Moda Center, were invited to that game to jointly start that delivery. So my colleague handed the ball to my other District 2 colleague who handed it to me. I handed it to a kid who was in that top row up in the nosebleed section, and the ball was sent down to the floor to start the game.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Any other commissioners have questions for Ms. Pirtle-Guiney? Any discussion among commissioners regarding this matter? Seeing and hearing none, Vice Chair, are you prepared to make a motion?
And before I make a motion, though, my favorite part of this report is the Trailblazers busted out an old letter of advice from us from like 2 years ago, and they're like, no, you're good. And I love the fact that somebody still had that at their fingertips. So it warms my heart that that happened. So that's my favorite part of this report. But that said, for executive session agenda item number 5, I move the commission dismiss the complaint against Elena Pirtle-Guiney.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on executive session agenda item 5. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Givens,
Yes.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Burke,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner McCulley,
Aye.
Chair Payne,
Aye.
motion passed 8-0.
Ms. Pirtle-Guiney, as you've heard, the matter against you has been dismissed. Thank you for appearing today and for your transparency and for your service to your community.
Thank you all, and thank you for your time in this matter.
So we do not have anyone else appearing on the City of Portland matters, right?
No.
Okay. Can we hear them together?
They are ethics cases,
Oh,
not
right.
meeting law.
Oh, yeah.
Can the report stand as given? Or does he have to give his report
I mean, they're
4 more times, 5 more times?
they're different.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But he can make it as short as
No,
possible.
Okay.
I understand. We gotta do what we gotta do.
Okay. Investigator Patterson, please provide the report on agenda item 6.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. This is Investigator Silas Patterson for the record. Agenda item 6 in your meeting book is a preliminary review report for Samir Kanal, counselor for the City of Portland. The complaint alleges that Mr. Kanal may have violated Oregon government ethics law by accepting gifts from Rip City management that exceeded $50 in the cumulative gift limit from a single source, including participation in Asian American Pacific Islander night event, a game ball delivery ceremony, and meetings with the Blazers executives and NBA commissioner. Based on the information obtained in this preliminary review, it does not appear that Mr. Kanal violated the gift provisions in Oregon government ethics law. The recommendation in this case is to move to dismiss.
Thank you, Investigator Patterson. Any questions or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Vice Chair, are you prepared to make a motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. For executive session agenda item number 6, I move the commission dismiss the complaint against Samir Kanal.
Commissioners, you've heard the motion on agenda item 6. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner McCulley,
Aye.
Commissioner Burke, Commissioner
Sorry
Burke,
about the mute. Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner Givens,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Chair Payne,
Aye.
motion passed 8-0.
Agenda item 7, Investigator Patterson.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. This is Investigator Silas Patterson for the record. Agenda item 7 in your meeting book is a preliminary review report for Angelita Murillo, counselor for the City of Portland. The complaint alleges that Ms. Murillo may have violated Oregon government ethics law by accepting gifts from RIP City management that exceeded $50 in the cumulative gift limit from a single source. The alleged gifts include complimentary tickets for participating in Women's History Night event and meetings with Blazers executives. Based on the information obtained in this preliminary review, it does not appear that Ms. Murillo violated the gift provisions in Oregon government ethics law. The recommendation is to move this case to dismissal.
Thank you, Investigator Patterson. Any questions, discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Vice Chair?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for executive session agenda item number 7, I move the commission dismiss the case against Angelita Murillo.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on executive session agenda item 7. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Burke,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt. Aye. Commissioner Givens,
Aye.
Chair Payne,
Aye.
motion passed 8-0.
Investigator Patterson, agenda item 8, please.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. This is Investigator Silas Patterson for the record. Agenda item 8 in your meeting book is preliminary review report for Tiffany Koyama Lane, counselor for the city of Portland. The complaint alleges that Ms. Koyama Lane may have violated Oregon government ethics law by accepting gifts from Risk City management that exceeded the $50 gift limit. The alleged gifts include complimentary tickets for attending and participating in Asian American Pacific Islander event and meetings with Blazers executives. Based on the information in this preliminary review, it does not appear that Ms. Koyama Lane violated the gift provisions in Oregon government ethics law. The recommendation is to dismiss this case.
Thank you, Investigator Patterson. Any discussion, questions? Seeing and hearing none, Vice Chair?
Thank you, Madam Chair. For executive session agenda item number 8, I move the commission dismiss the complaint against Tiffany Koyama Lane.
Thank you, Vice Chair. You've heard the motion, Commissioners, on executive session agenda item 8. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Burke,
Yeah, I will say aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Givens,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt.
Aye.
Chair Payne,
Aye.
motion passes 8-0.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 9. Investigator Pacheco, please provide the report.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. This is Investigator Daniel Pacheco for the record. Agenda item 9 in your meeting books is a preliminary review report for Amber Langworthy, Vice Chair for the Springfield School District Board of Directors. The complaint in this matter alleges that Ms. Langworthy, 1, shared confidential information with a private attorney for personal gain, and 2, failed to declare a conflict of interest at 4 district board meetings when the board considered complaints that had been filed against her personal conduct. In this case, commission staff had no information to suggest that Ms. Langworthy shared confidential information as defined in ethics law with her private attorney, nor that it resulted in a personal gain. Similarly, the information gathered supports that Ms. Langworthy, who is a volunteer member, would not be financially impacted by the board's consideration of the complaints, and thus she was not met with a statutory conflict of interest. The recommendation in your books is to dismiss. Thank you.
Thank you, Investigator Pacheco. Any questions for our investigator? Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Vice Chair?
Thank you, Madam Chair. For executive session agenda item number 9, I move the commission dismiss the complaint against Amber Langworthy.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on agenda item 9. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt. Aye. Commissioner Burke,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Givens,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Chair Payne,
Aye.
motion passed 8-0.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 10, Investigator Sullivan, please provide the report.
Yes, thank you, Chair Payne and Commission. This is Investigator Josh Sullivan for the record. I'm presenting executive session agenda item number 10. This is a complaint against Chad LaValle, former fire chief for the Alfalfa Fire District. The complaint alleges that Chad LaValle may have used AFD resources to avoid a financial detriment for himself by hiring a private investigator and by discussing a potential lawsuit with the AFD attorney. The information in this preliminary review does not indicate that Chad LaValle used his position as fire chief to obtain a private investigator for personal matters, nor does it appear that AFD funds were used to pay for a private investigator. In an email from Chad LaValle to the AFD attorney, he indicated a personal desire to look into a potential lawsuit, and the attorney responded appropriately, clarifying his limitations. There is no indication that Chad LaValle attempted to use his office or official position to persuade the AFD attorney to represent him or to obtain AFD funds to finance a lawsuit. The information available in this preliminary review appears to be insufficient to conclude that Chad LaValle used his position to obtain a personal financial benefit or avoid a financial detriment, and the recommendation is to dismiss the case.
Thank you, Investigator Sullivan. Commissioners, any questions for the investigator? Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Vice Chair?
Thank you, Madam Chair. For executive session, agenda item number 10, I move the commission dismiss the complaint against Chad LaValle.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on agenda item 10. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Dancy,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Burke,
Aye.
Commissioner Givens,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passed 8-0.
Okay, I think would be a good time for a break. Do we have lunch today?
It should be set up.
It is set up. It is set up. Okay. Let's break for 20 minutes, 20 minutes for lunch. And that way we can get back and get this going again. So we'll be 12:10 is when we'll resume and proceed.
This is more than $50.
Already, yeah.
The room is off mute and I'm just restarting recordings now.